My name is Tong. I'm currently a PhD student at the University of Cambridge, pursuing my doctorate in development studies. For my doctoral research, I'm actually looking at upgrading in the palm oil value chains in Malaysia and Indonesia.
Great, great. So how are you using the global value chain framework to help address these industries and your research questions?
Right. I think the GVC approach has been quite helpful both as a heuristic tool when I try to figure out what are the things I actually need to focus at when I look at those palm oil value chains in Malaysia and Indonesia. But I think at the same time, over the years, the GVC approach has also evolved into some kind of theoretical framework with more flesh and skeleton that renders some theoretical insights into how we might look at certain things like trade, for instance, and development, and industrial economics, and so on and so forth. So in that sense, it's not a new original thing as such, but it borrows a lot from what has been said before, and I think it offers a very nice frame to bring everything together.
Oh, great. And what are you learning here at the Global Summit that you can take back with you?
So much. I think it's quite useful to see how practitioners and academics are coming together and to get a sense of what they are looking at. It's quite exciting to learn from the academics about how they are applying the GVC approach to their work. And it seems like from the early days when we were talking about economy upgrading and so forth, it has really expanded into social upgrading and a lot of social dimensions that probably were not there during its early days. And from the practitioner side, it's quite exciting to see how the ideas actually caught on among them. And you could see that they're adapting the GVC approach to their work in terms of program design and data measurement. And it's just very nice to be brought up to date about what they're actually doing. Like I've learned so much about the OECD, WTO trade in value-added database, which I think could be quite helpful for the work that I'll be looking at after this.
Great.
Yeah.
So one final question. Looking ahead over the next few years, say 3 to 5 years, what are significant challenges in a changing global economy that you've identified in your research? And how can a GVC framework or the GVC framework help to shed new insights into these challenges or offer policy recommendation?
Right. So these are probably challenges in a broader sense, not specifically related to my research. But I think as more people are coming on board to look at global value chains, there could be a danger of the concept being conflated with certain unnecessary things for ideological purposes. And so I think that's something that we probably have to consider and bear in mind as we go along. And I think it's always quite useful to come back to the two most powerful elements of the GVC approach, which I think is the dimension of power, obviously, that must be continued to be explored in the whole thing. And the other part of it is really the idea of value. There have been more empirical studies emerging out of different industries, but I could be wrong, but I think we still probably don't have a very good idea sometimes or some data on how value is actually created. And the other part of it is about how the value is actually captured. I think a lot of this comes back to firm level data, and it's a rich site for research in that sense. And I think we probably need to do a bit more micro work on that side to complement, what some other international organizations are actually doing at the more macro level by looking at the aggregate data. The other challenge I think is, given the highly fluid and dynamic nature of global value chains, it's important to constantly update our understanding of how things are shifting given new developments, like shift in trade patterns and so forth and so on, so on and so forth. So we should not be married to, a very static way of understanding how these chains work.